Alrighty, so we're going to start off together, and then I'm going to get you to do some by yourself. We're going to have a look at the first question here, and today I was prepared. I already set up my statement reason rather than having to make you watch me try and set it up. Alrighty, so remember guys, in geometry, whenever we are trying to find a missing angle, what we want to do is we need to make a geometric statement that allows me to solve for whatever it is we're trying to solve for. But the second I make a statement, I have to give a reason for that statement. Ooh, excuse me. Alrighty, so your instructions, or your question rather, would be something along the lines of determine the value of x, or the missing angles. And that's exactly what we want to do. Okay, so first things first, let's identify where our x value, or where our missing angle is. We can clearly see that that is x, and we can also see that that is essentially part of the expression for that angle there in green. Okay, so we now need to decide which of our several geometry reasons we can use in order to go and find this value of x. Now guys, what you need to remember is that we did a course on straight line geometry, so angles around a point, angles on a straight line, vertically opposite angles, yeah, parallel lines, so corresponding, co-interior, alternate, and then separately we did a course on triangles, so sum of angles in a triangle, exterior angles of a triangle, angles opposite equal sides. But any of those reasons you can use, right? As long as it fits with the information that you've been given and it applies, you can use it. All right, so technically I've got a whole bunch of different reasons here, but what I need to analyze, I nearly said analyze, is what information leads me to using whatever rule. Now, the first bit that I need to be mindful of is I've got that little red square at the top. And we know that this red square means 90 degrees. And so technically I have got 90 degrees, I've got 40, and I've got an expression for that angle there. And that's useful for me because what I can now see is that all of these angles fall on the straight line over there in blue. Now remember, when we've got adjacent angles on a straight line, so these angles all come from this common point and they're all right next to each other. When we've got those adjacent angles on a straight line, we know that when we add them together, we must get 180 degrees. So I can now make that first geometric statement. I know that 6x plus 2 plus 40 plus 90 must give me 180 degrees. Now I've made a statement, I must give a reason. My reason here is angles on a straight line. Remember guys, your geometric reasons, you can abbreviate, or you can use the abbreviations that I do. Some of these reasons would get very long if we had to write out every single word. And so use the abbreviations. As you go up in maths, there are some long reasons that we have to learn. So where you can shorten it, do so. Okay, but now we're going to actually go and solve for x, because remember, that's what we're wanting to do. The instruction told us determine the value of x. So that's our next step. Now, guys, this is an equation. We revised equations on Monday. We know how to do this. Okay, first things first, though, is that I see that 2, 40, and 90 on the left-hand side, they're all like terms. So to make my life easier, I'm going to add them together. A 6x stays where it is. Right, 6x stays where it is. 2 plus 40 is 42, plus 90 is 132, is equal to 180. So it just neatens up my equation a little bit. You don't have to add the like terms, but like I said, it neatens up our equation. It makes it a lot easier to work with, and now we're going to go and solve. So I know that to solve this equation, I need to use my inverse operations like we did on Monday. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 132 from both sides of my equation. Right, 180 minus 132 is 48. And again, guys, remember, we are solving for x, so I don't actually want that coefficient of 6 there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Again, It's solving an equation. And this is actually quite cool that we're doing this now, because you can see how much overlap there is between sections and maths. Geometry isn't just geometry. Let's try those words again. Geometry isn't just geometry. Geometry involves algebra, solving equations, geometry. So there's so much sort of crossing over and linking of sections in maths, and we need to be able to be comfortable with all of those sections. Right, as Siamtanda and Sibulele have put on the chat there, 48 divided by 6 is 8 degrees. And so what I get is that this value of x is 48 degrees. This value of x is 8 degrees. And so what we could do is we could go and substitute in to find the value of that green angle I have there. We know that 8 times 6 is 48, plus 2 would be 50. And remember, double check yourself. We've established that these are angles on a straight line. So if I say 50 plus 40 plus 90, I do get 180 degrees. So the angles on the straight line reason is holding true here. Okay, so really importantly in geometry, when we are making a statement, when we are starting to do our working out, we need to remember to always give a reason. Like I say, often we're going to have to solve an equation, and we need to be comfortable solving equations. Right, guys, so what I'm going to ask you guys to do, just want to make sure how I set this up, is I'm going to ask you to try the second question there. The only bit of information that perhaps isn't super clear just because of the way this weird diagram is the fact that these two lines here are parallel to each other. Right, I'm also maybe going to make your life a bit easier here and just add some labels, because a diagram without labels often gets quite confusing. Okay, there's some labels for you. What I want, same as in the first one, is for you to solve for x. So look carefully at the information I've given you. Like I say, those are parallel lines. It's not super clear from the diagram, so I've just put it on there quite clearly for you. And we want the value of x. Okay, so give it a try. If you're feeling very, very stuck, remember that we've given you parallel lines for a reason. So it must be important somewhere. We might have to do a little bit of work before we get to the parallel line usage, but we've given them to you for a reason. It is very, 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 very rare that we ever give you information for geometry that is useless. Okay, so it's not like we try and give you information to throw you off. It's not like we try and give you useless information. If it's there, it's useful to you. Okay, so just bear that in mind as you start to do geometry questions. Sorry, my toes are so cold. I need socks on. So remember, guys, you should have your pen and paper, writing everything down, trying this so that when we do go through it, you can mark. If and when you have an answer, you can put it on the chat. Please remember, I always want to answer with the appropriate reason or reasons. But like I said, I'm going to give you, say, another 2 minutes. Let's see where you're at there. And then we'll go through it. And like I say, make sure that you mark as we go through. And remember, guys, in geometry and yeah, in maths in general, the question paper is yours. So especially for sections like geometry or sections even like algebra, when you're trying to identify like terms, grab your highlighters, grab your colored pens and pencils and cookies and all the rest of that. Do whatever it is you need to do to be able to answer your questions. I, to this day, still use highlighters and colored coordination, particularly in geometry, right? Just to help my eye see everything that's really important there. And guys, just a reminder, I don't actually even know what stage load shedding we're at, but load shedding, remember that everything's recorded. And so if you are late to class, if you missed a bit of class, come late for whatever reason, everything's recorded and you can go and watch the recording there online on the website or on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Okay, so Alexa, remember I've told you 2 things that you need to do. You need to try log out and log back in. If that doesn't work, you need to unpin and then repin my screen. And if that's still not working, let us know and I'll reshare. Okay, guys, so let's have a look. I'm just going to make this bigger. I'll make it a bit smaller for you guys to screenshot 1 and 2 in a second. So remember, guys, like I said, we don't give you information for no reason. It's there for a reason that you're going to have to use it. So the information I gave you was the fact that AB was parallel to CD. So now we need to be thinking of all of our parallel line reasons: alternate angles, co-interior angles, corresponding angles. But right now, none of those are applying immediately. So for example, this 7x minus 20 is a corresponding angle to angle FED. That doesn't help me. Then, like, I've got nothing there at FED. This angle 4x plus 16 is a corresponding angle to AFE. Also, it doesn't help me. There's nothing there at AFE. We're going to have to do a little bit of work before we can get there. Now, grade 8, there are lots of different ways that you can do this. So I'm going to do it one way. What I want you to check is that you do get the same answer and that you sort of follow more or less the same sort of thought process as me, but you could have done it in multiple different ways. All right, so the first thing that I sort of saw when having a look at this question initially was the fact that this angle FED is vertically opposite to the angle I was given of 4x plus 16. Now that's helpful to me because remember I just said that this angle 7x plus minus 20 corresponds to that angle there. So if I can get the angle FED, then I've got corresponding angles and I can work with that. Now remember, you have to write everything down in geometry. It's just a sad truth, you have to write everything down. The first thing I'm going to write down is the fact that this angle, maybe let's get a different color going on here. This angle FED, so there where I've put that purple dot, that is equal to 4x plus 16 because they are vertically opposite. So FED is equal to 4x plus 16 degrees because of vert-op angles. This is also why we actually needed some labels here. Okay, so vert-op angles. So I now know that this is 4x plus 16. And guys, exactly what I'm doing here, fill these things in on your diagram, because now it's very, very clear that I have corresponding angles. So now what I can say, because I've done that vertically opposite angle, is now I can say that I know, and remember corresponding angles are equal to each other. I know that 7x minus 20 is equal to angle 4x plus 16. And that is all because they are corresponding angles. Now remember, whenever you use a parallel line reason, so corresponding angles, co-interior or alternate angles, you have to state the parallel lines. So AB parallel to CD. And now I've got an equation I can solve for x. So I'm going to bring the 4x over, inverse operation, 7x minus 4x is equal to 16 degrees. And again, bring the 20 over, plus 20, inverse operations. 7x minus 4x is 3x, 16 plus 20 is 36. Again, we're solving for x, so I don't want that coefficient of 3, so I'm going to divide it away. X is equal to 12 degrees. Who knows why it doesn't want to underline. All right, so this question is certainly not a hard question, but tricky in the sense that there was a little bit of work we had to do before we could get to the answer. And as you start to move up in geometry, you're going to see more and more that it's very rare that we can just go straight to the answer. We often have to do a little bit of work first before we can get to where we need to be. All right, so I'm going to just make that a touch smaller, take your screenshots. If anyone has any questions about either of those two questions that we've done, please do raise your hand and ask me. Otherwise, we're going to have a look at another. Don't understand. And guys, remember, we have done lessons on all of these reasons. So I think if you go onto like the website or whatever, you'll see that it's lesson 1, angles around a point. Lesson 2, angles on a straight line. So if you need more practice with like specific reasons, please go and watch the videos. Okay, it's broken down reason by reason. So again, any questions, feel free to raise your hands. If not, we're going to have a look at one more before we take a little break. You guys are doing really well tonight. That was a hard question, and I'm really impressed with how many of you gave it a try and gave me answers. So well done. Hey guys, good. Alrighty, so I want you guys to try by yourselves. I think this is question 3 now. Just be careful in this one. There's 2 angles now that I want you to find. Not only is it angle X here in the top right-hand corner. I always get confused between my left and my right. But I also have angle Y bottom left. So there's 2 angles I want you to find the value of. Let's give this one a try, and then we will take a little break. Again, if we're feeling stuck, look at what information I've given you. So the angles, the parallel lines, and ask yourself, why is it there? Why did I give you those angles? And why did I give you those parallel lines? They are there for a reason. Guys, like Sabisa was put there on the chat, remember y equals and x equals with the reasons, please. bad for them. That's also catching some silly mistake. So well, oh, sorry, I kicked my toe. So well done. Oh, while I'm talking of kicking my toes, my grade 9s were annoying me so much the other day. I said the other day, yesterday, that as I was walking up and down my classroom, I walked straight into my desk. Did that bruise? Yeah. I just straight into the corner. Just nice, guys. Keep those answers coming. Thanks, Molly. I like in the moment I was trying to be really cool about it and not be like, ow. And then I got home and I was like, ow. Okay, guys. Does anyone want to raise their hand to give this one a try? You can do X or you can do Y. You don't have to do both. Does anyone want to try X or Y? Sabiso?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So for Y, I said 112 degrees, 180 degrees minus 112 degrees, which was, what? 180 minus, which was 68 degrees.
Good.
And which was 68 degrees, and my reason was co-interior angles.
Excellent. Okay, so guys, what you need to see, doesn't matter that we started with Y, really makes no difference, is because of the parallel lines A, B, and C, D, we've got this U shape or the C shape or the cup shape or whatever. And we know that then the angle here D plus the angle at A must give us 180. So that's why Tabiso said there Y equals 180 minus 112. All right, so another way that you can set this up, oh, sorry, guys. Another way that you can set this up is you could have said Y plus 112. We're looking 112, so let's try that again. Is equal to 180, and then you're just solving the equation. Either way, your reason is co-interior angles, and we have to put our parallel lines. AB parallel to CD. Okay, so Y is equal to 68 degrees. We have that. The only other one we need is X. Sabiso, I do see your hand up. I'm just going to ask if anyone else would like to try. Otherwise, I'll come back to you. Anyone want to try X, guys? Boshale? Oh, I don't know if I unmuted you. There we go.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So I said 63 y x is equals to 180 minus 63 degrees, and then it gave me 117 degrees.
Perfect. And what was your reason?
It was co-interior.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, again, to find X, you could use co-interior angles. Remember your AB parallel to CD. And so the U or the cup shape now is a little bit backwards. So here's now our cup shape. And so we've got our co-interior angles. Okay, another way that you can do it, that I'm trying to put there on the chat is, because this is a quadrilateral, you know that all 4 angles in that quadrilateral must add up to 360 degrees. So you also could have used either to find X or Y, depending on which one you found first. You also could have used angles in a quad to work out your second value. Both of those reasons are absolutely fine. You will get 100% for both of those reasons. It's completely up to you. I actually often forget the 360 rule. So I often forget that quads add up to 360. And so it's really good that we do have that fact about quadrilaterals in the back of our head, because it is quite useful to us. All right, so if anyone has any questions, now's the time to raise your hand and ask. Otherwise, like I say, we're going to take a little brain break and then we will carry on with some more questions. Otherwise, do take your screenshots. Thanks, guys. Sorry, I just have like weird spasms going on, so they're quite painful for like 10 seconds and then it goes away. So just ignore my face. I will try and keep it together. Otherwise, I'll just turn my camera off and then you won't be any the wiser. Alrighty, no questions. Very nice, grade 8s. You're doing really well. Clearly, geometry is our jam. We're going to do amazingly in our exam. Alrighty, brain break time. I hope you enjoyed this joke. I've seen it pop up so many times, and you can tell how sad I am that this popped up on my social media. But I really enjoy this joke. I think it's hilarious. Oh, okay, so Battle just got a question of how we got to the answer. So sorry, guys, I'll come back to the brain break now. Okay, so first one, we started with y. You don't have to start with y, but we use co-interior angle. So I'm just going to take my highlighting off. So the first one was co-interior angles. So it's this C shape. And y plus 112 must give me 180. That's what co-interior angles means. And then I just solve for y. So I got that y was equal to 68 degrees. And then we have the value of y. In order for us to get x, there's two ways that you can do it. Option 1 is to use angles in a quad. So 112 plus the 68 that y is plus 63 plus whatever x is must give us 360. That's absolutely fine to use. But the second way that we got x is we could also use co-interior angles with this backwards c and say that x plus 63 must give us 180 degrees. So there's two ways to do it, completely up to you. But that's how we get x and y. Alrighty. Okay, so Nani has told me that I have done this brain break before, and as I'm doing it, I realized you are indeed correct. Who on earth knows what was going through my brain? Okay, let me get another brain break. Brain break. I'm just got all my answers here. I don't want you to see those. You. Can you tell how much nonsense I have here?
So we're trying to find some.
And I have so many. Okay, no, do you know what? I am making this way much harder. English, way harder than it needs to be. So let's just go back to our little dungas here. You can appreciate the joke whilst I get us a brain break. Yeah, who knows what I was thinking when I did this brain break? Lost my mind. Literally, as you said, it's Nyani. I was like, you are so correct. I didn't notice it when I did the brain break, but now that I'm here, come on, please don't fight with me. No one's attacking you. No one's being upset. Alrighty. I am on top of things. Let's get rid of this nonsense. Come on. And who doesn't love a donut and a cookie? Okay, brain break. No, Sunyani, there you go. New brain break. I do apologize. On me entirely. So guys, there's your brain break. Let's give this one a try. If you tell me we've done this one as well, then I give up. I don't think we have though. I feel like I would have remembered cookies and donuts. So remember, our goal is to find the value of the very last equation down at the bottom here. Be careful of where there's 2 and where there's 1, guys. I suppose I better get an answer for us, hey? Okay, so remember, first person to get it right in the chat, we will call your name and you can explain it. So the joke is that number is pi, and remember pi goes to infinity. So we can't ever have all the digits of pi. So when they're taking the selfie, they can't get everyone in because it just keeps going and going and going. I thought it was quite funny. Like I say, clearly you can see what comes up on my social media. I wonder, okay, so what we're doing is we're solving the equation. So what you want to try and do is you want to figure out how much a donut is worth so that when you add a donut plus a donut plus a donut, you get 27. Once you have that, you then know what 2 donuts is worth, and you can use each of your answers in subsequent steps in order to get to that very final equation's answer. I'm going to just double check the messages. I don't think I saw the right answer come through, but I'm just going to double check that. Not yet. 1 or 2 more minutes, guys. Otherwise, I'll go through it. And then we're going to have a look at a couple more geometry questions. I'm going to give you another minute or so just because I made an oopsie and did the same brain break. Oh, we're getting so many different answers. Okay, guys, we do need to move on. So let's have a look. So a lot of you, I think, got the first one for sure. We've got 3 donuts that we need to add, which means 9, 18, 27. So each one single donut is 9, which means a double donut's down here, and the next step is 18. So 18 plus a product gives us 247. Now imagine this as an equation, right? So inverse operations would tell us to subtract 18 on both sides. That we're just left with this product. And so 274 minus 18 is 256. And then we want to figure out what 2 numbers we times together to get 256. And that's 16 times 16. Okay, so that means the 2 chocolate chip cookies is 16. That therefore means in the next step, we've got 16 times 16, which we know is 256. And then plus what gives us the cake. And I just realized that I think I made a stupid mistake with the cake. So some of you might have been right, and that's on me. We'll see now. So 256 plus what gives us 268? That's 12. And so the final one, we've got double donut, which is 18, single cake, which is 6, single cookie, which is 8. Oh. So we've got 6 times 8, which gives us 48. My times tables are not great. And I know I shouldn't say that, but me and times tables. So 6 times 8, remember BODMAS, 48. Plus the 18, so remember your BODMAS again, gives us an answer of 66. So well done to those of you that said 66. I can't do math today because, like I say, my brain is not working at a pace that is doing much. Right, so 66, the first person to get 66, because I feel you deserve a congratulations after my nonsense, was Sabiso. So very well done. Well done on the answer there. And it just goes to show, guys, so what I missed was the 2 cakes versus the 1 cake. I thought that was 2 cakes. So I made a silly mistake there. So it just goes to show how important it is to read your questions carefully. Alrighty, let's do some more geometry. Okay, so apparently, Sipilele, the previous question, I'm assuming you mean from the geometry. So I assume you mean this one. So I'll just wait here in case you need to take a screenshot of this, guys. Otherwise, I'm moving. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So let's have a look at this next question down here. Sorry, clearly everything when I put my brain break in went a bit out of whack. So let's have a look at this question here. I want you to try this question that I've put here. So it's now got a triangle in it. Now we need to start thinking about all of our triangle reasons. And again, what I need you to take note of is the fact that there's 2 angles I want the value of. There's angle F as well as angle G. So for this question, I need 2 answers from you, the answer for angle F and the answer for angle G. Please remember to put your reasons in as well. Right, if we don't have reasons, we're going to lose marks. Brought medication through the window. Thank you. Okay, guys, remember, look at what information I've given you. If it's there for a reason. It's important. Okay, we're all sort of understanding the general concept here. Some of our reasons are a bit muddled, but that's also okay. Remember, reasons come with practice. And you can correct them when we go through it now. I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Okay, guys, let's have a look. So remember that sorry. Okay, remember that I give you information for a reason, right? So if it's there, it's going to be useful to you. This therefore means that because I've given you these equal sides, that is in some way useful to this question. Now remember, we've got a reason that deals with equal sides. We know that when we have been given equal sides, we know that the angles opposite those equal sides are the same. So that automatically means I know that if is 76 degrees, and my reason, and I'll be careful here, it's angles opposites equal sides. It is the angles that are opposite the given equal sides. All right, so now we have F. Like I say, I like to fill stuff in on a diagram as I go along, because the more information you add, the more you have to work with. And it's very useful to know what we have and what we can work with. Excuse me. Okay, so G is like a random little angle in there. It's not opposite and equal side, nothing, but we now have two of our three angles in the triangle. So we know that G plus 76 must equal 180 degrees because of sum of angles in triangle. Okay, so G plus, and again, like terms, just add them together, makes your life easier. 76 plus 76 is 152. And we're going to solve that equation by subtracting 152 on both sides, so using our inverse operations. Right, that then gives me that G is equal to 28 degrees. All right, so guys, a nice like basic diagram. There's not a lot going on our diagram, but because I had two angles, I ended up needing to use two reasons, and that's a really important thing to remember. The second you're looking for more than one angle, you have to remember that with every new angle you're determining the size of, it's a new reason that you need to give. Alrighty, so I'm going to make this a touch smaller in case you still need it. I feel like there was a question that I've missed, and I just want to double check before I move on. Okay, so Lexa, I'm assuming you still can't see the screen. I will reshare it now. So guys, the only thing I want you to double check here is just those reasons. Some of us were very close with the reasons. We just were mixing up like sides op equal angles versus angles op equal sides. So just make sure that we've got our reason correct. Lexa, you should be able to see the screen now. And guys, I don't think we're going to get through all of those angles there that I've given you. So, right, let's try this last one. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes. There's only X that I want you to find here. Okay, so only X we're working out the value of. Again, look at what information I've given you, and look and see how it is helpful to you. Okay, so let's give this one a try. You're only looking for X here. Okay, guys, and when you're done here, I will go back to the other question in case you didn't get a screenshot. Let's just finish this and then we'll deal with it. Remember, we're solving for X. So I want the value of just X. We're on the right track with those answers, not our final answer yet, but we're on the right track. Ndumi, it should be back on, so it probably went black because I reshared the screen. Just try unpinning and then repinning my screen, or you might need to just log out and log back in. So give those two things a try. I did reshare it because some people were having a bit of a problem. Okay, 1 more minute. Excuse me. Okay, guys, let's have a C. So this is actually quite similar to the one we did with the parallel lines earlier, because we can't go straight to the answer in this question. We have to do a little bit before we can get there. All right, so in terms of what we need to do, what I see is that I've been given a triangle here. Okay, now that's quite useful. Really be useful as well if I could highlight. It's useful to us because the second we have a triangle, it means that we can use all of our triangle reasons. Right, so that's nice. I also see that this 130 degrees is actually the exterior angle to this triangle. So automatically I should be thinking, oh, I need to use exterior angle of a triangle. Now we know that exterior angle of a triangle means that this 130 degrees is equal to x plus 20 to whatever this angle here at UPQ is. Now I don't know that angle, but I see that x is vertically opposite to it. So this angle UPQ is equal to x because of vert-op angles. And now that I know that this dot here is equal to x, I can use my exterior angle of a triangle. So I know that x plus 20 plus x must give me 130 degrees, that exterior angle. And now I can solve. So x plus x are like terms, so we get 2x plus 20 equals 130 degrees. I'm going to inverse operation, so subtract 20 on both sides of my equation. So 130 minus 20, sorry. And so I go 2x is equal to 110. Now remember, I'm solving for x, so I need to divide both sides by 2. And so x is equal to 55 degrees. And I saw quite a few 55s coming there towards the end. Well, look, English, so very nicely done. Okay, so guys, again, we need to be mindful of the fact that sometimes we need to do a little bit of work